Welcome to Down Home Horror, where we keep the hall lights on for you. I'm Alex.
And I'm
That's who
Amber.
I am.
That's who I am.
I'm. This is fine. This is fine. It's good. We're just gonna. It was all planned. Just like today's episode, which today we're talking about the Pope's Exorcist. Hey, oh boy, oh boy! I just saw this last weekend, and I think Amber saw it a few days before I did.
Yeah, I saw it the Thursday before it was like widely released or whatever.
Not a big deal or
I
anything.
had to
Casual.
see it like ASAP. So.
I caught a matinee. I can't just start. I need to start. This was an experience first and foremost. Someone had my seat. I bought my tickets online, and someone had my seat, and I'm too polite to ask them to fucking move. First off,
Right.
And so I just took like a seat to like the side and to like the left. It was fine. It's only 2 seat difference. And then that same person fell asleep in the middle of the movie, like full on snoring. Fell asleep in the middle of the Pope's Exorcist.
It wasn't that bad, brother.
It
like,
was
wake
not
up.
that bad.
Wake up.
And then on the far right, hey, I'm the kind of person. Fun fact: the misophonia when hearing people chew like makes me want to snap and do horrible things. Bad. So movie theaters are a special kind of hell for me sometimes, and I could hear the person all the way on the opposite end because they're an auditorium, right? So they're supposed to like echo sound. Eating not just like little bits of popcorn, like clearly handfuls and shoving it in face, which I'm not judging. It's just that creates a sound.
That's how I eat my popcorn.
I'm not judging, but like the fact that I could hear it all the way down the way, I just was like, okay, that's awful. And then to my left, because again, I have this hearing thing, someone was very slowly unwrapping candy for like half the movie. And I'm like, bro, just open it, just do it.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Just rip it straight. I don't have that kind of patience. I would rip that shit open immediately and put it in my mouth.
It's so much faster, and I don't know what they had that was so individually wrapped, unless it was just a bunch of like Reese cups. I do not understand. So that's not to say anything about anyone's movie habits. Y'all fine. I'm the one that has issues, but that's like the atmosphere going into this movie, which was a very interesting movie to begin with.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I probably would have cried, to be honest. I was just by myself sitting like at the end of an aisle, and I was just like, again, with like handfuls of popcorn, like
sure.
And then I was like, oh my god, I need to stop eating this, because typically I finish my popcorn like the first quarter of the movie, and
sure.
If it's a scary movie, then I don't want that, because I want to be physically doing something while I'm getting scared. So I was like, no, I'm gonna put it off to the side and I'm gonna save it, which, you know, as we both know, I didn't need to do that anyway. I could have just ate the whole damn thing whenever I wanted to, because was like I scared it all through this movie? Nope.
I had that thought after the fact. Like, was there a single time I was scared? Not a single jump scare, nothing. I was devoid of fear, horror, terror the entire time.
Which is crazy, because I literally, like, leading up to it, I was like, oh, I'm so excited to pee my pants in the middle of this movie theater. Why did I have to go see this by myself? And I was fine. So I hyped the shit out of that for no fucking reason.
You know, it's funny for me, the first half of it, me sitting there arms crossed, ignoring the people around me, I was like, this is like a cozy horror. This isn't something that I necessarily would give high praises for. It's something I'd have on the background at home. It's enjoyable, but it's not like my favorite. It's gonna get the Conjuring treatment. Like it just had that vibe to it, right? Like this is easily gonna be a franchise for 2 or 3 movies. It is what it is. And then it pops off. And I'm not sure it's in a good way, but it definitely changes. The tone changes a little bit.
Definitely.
And it just Amber got my notes list afterwards, because I had to put that on my thoughts. And I feel like Pope's Exorcist best is summed up in 2 words: sexy explosions. They're pyrotechnics. Why they had a budget for pyrotechnics like they did,
right?
I don't understand. But that's like when I felt like things were really getting crazy. It's like there's stuff coming out of the fireplace, chandeliers are exploding. Those are like real sparks too. They're doing a lot of what seems like practical effects.
And the thing is that I feel like I feel so bad. I don't even like want to say anything bad, but like I'm trying to be honest. So I feel like their entire budget went straight towards the pyrotechnics. Like their CGI was awful. Absolutely awful. Like all of the like I don't even like the digital stuff with like the blood and everything. I
Yeah.
was just like, dude, what the fuck? Like I'm sad. Like the best like practical thing about that other than, you know, like the fire and stuff was the kid's makeup at the end when he was like further into his demonic possession or whatever.
Sure.
Like that was the best practical part other than that. Like the rest of like the CGI and the digitally done things, I was just like, dude, I'm like squeezing my knees right now. Like this is so bad. I was mad.
Should, okay, like how much of this plot do we want to share? Should we at least give an overview so people know what we're ranting and raving about?
Probably,
Or
yeah. Just we just skipped straight over that part.
I have a lot of thoughts. I don't know. I could go it off the cuff. Do you have a plot on hand?
The only thing I wrote as far as plot goes was
Okay.
stars Russell Crowe.
And the moped.
Yes,
Russell
and the
Crowe and the
Vespa.
moped.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Let's
it.
seeing Russell Crowe and his little
Dude, best part. Just
and he has like toned glasses. Like all he needs is a Starbucks, and he's living his best life.
so cute. So cute.
I feel like quick hand. Russell Crowe plays Old Priest. Gabrielle
Amort?
Amort, there it is, and he is the guy, like the main guy to do exorcisms. And they talk about really early
The
on.
Pope's exorcist, if you
I
will.
said the thing. You said the thing.
Sorry, continue.
They talk early on about like, hey, 98% of exorcisms are really just go to the doctor, man. And I'm glad they addressed that. I worked in a group home for a brief amount of time, and working in the group home, I went, I understand why people believe in possessions. Like it is terrifying to see how some folks just kind of lose control of their body like that.
Right.
It's wild. So I get it. I 100% get it. And it was cool that they addressed it right up front. 98% of these cases are mental health. There's
Right.
something physical. There's something else going on. Cool. Gold star. And then there's like the line of what about the other 2%? It's evil. There's some real killer lines.
Oh,
Very
the
melodramatic.
one-liners. Fucking
And
love them.
Russell Crowe did such a good job of playing this priest that doesn't give a fuck. Really? Like he does. He clearly cares about his job, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't care for the politics of it all.
No.
I agree. It's church. Like there
Right.
shouldn't be politics. That's a different podcast though. And meanwhile, pan to the left, we're getting our prototypical single mom, 2 kids. It's set in the 80s. They have just moved to Spain to renovate an abbey that they inherited from their dead her husband, kid's dad. It's that the daughter's very edgy. The son is mute, hasn't spoken since the father's unfortunate death in a car accident. They find stuff in the abbey. The abbey's obviously haunted. It has some kind of demon inside of it. The priest has to come around and exorcise the demon.
The right priest.
The right priest, because there's young hot priest. No.
That is not what he wanted.
And you know that immediately.
Yes. I loved that part, by the way. It's just like
wrong priest.
That was so good.
Wrong priest.
Okay, sorry.
You don't need to see the movie. This is it. This is the plot. It's happening right now. Oh my god. Like they never discuss it ever again. Not really. It's fine. I don't know. Right priest comes in. He's a kind of a smart aleck as he's wont to be. Then he goes, "Oh shit, this is a real demon." And then unraveling the demon possession was something else. There was, again, when I say this is split down the middle for me, I was like, yeah, possession movie, sure.
Right.
I'm like looking at the cinematography. I'm looking at specifically, did you catch this? Like the lamps? It seemed like the lighting was super purposeful. And I tried counting that. There's no rhyme or reason. There's not. There's nothing besides like it just feels very purposeful where they're putting lamps and the placement and the coloring of it all. I might just be making that up. It stood out to me.
Huh. Now I have to go
And
watch
then,
it again.
right? Lucky you. At least the first half. And then it turns kind of into a buddy cop movie. Right? Of young priest, old priest trying to take care of this demon. And I just wanted to remind the audience, this is based off a real priest.
Yes.
This is, in theory, based off a real story.
Mm-hmm. And I hope it played out exactly how they said it did at the end, and they were best buds for the rest of their lives. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's still alive.
He's dead.
He
He's died in
is?
2016. They say that at the very end. Gabriella died in 2016.
That's how much I pay attention. The only thing I saw at the end was he wrote books and they were good, and I was cackling too hard to read the rest of it.
Because it's an ongoing bit. Everyone's like, we've heard of you. Have you read the books? Ooh, no.
Right?
Like, apparently his books are good. No, they first say that he continued to do exorcisms up until his death, which was in 2016.
Yeah, totally. I knew that.
Totally.
Just testing you. It's trivia.
Yeah.
Pope's Exorcist trivia. What was the other guy? What was his name? I can't remember his name. I suck.
Thomas?
Maybe.
Hi, dear IMDb.
Yeah.
Oops. I should have pulled this up beforehand. They're Esquivel? Or is that someone else? I don't know. There's a lot of, they all kind of blend together here. It must be a father. I just don't remember how to pronounce that name, unfortunately. That man's cute though.
Yeah. Yeah, Father. Yes, what you said. I'm not even gonna attempt that.
I do not have a romantic language background, so I get made fun of a lot, in fact, for that. But so when I say it turns into a buddy cop movie, they break down a wall. They find out this abbey specifically. Before the wall breaks down, they open up a well that was covered the entire time. And somehow Russell Crowe knew to open up that well. I did not connect those dots at all. I just think it was a plot device. It's fine. There's skulls in the well. They find out, oh yeah, this abbey. Hey, spoilers. We didn't even do a spoiler warning. We should have.
Well, spoilers now. Sorry.
Because I can't control myself.
No, yeah, same.
They find they break down the wall. There's someone in a cage. She's defending the gate somehow. I don't know. It's shaky. And then there's a dude on a throne. And turns out it was the lead exorcist or lead priest during the Spanish Inquisition. And conveniently in his lap is his notebook. It's his journal. It's his diary. Might as well be velvet that says priest on it. And you find out, reading out loud, which is also one of my biggest pet peeves in any film. But when they're like word for word reading something out loud, I'm like, this is dumb. Don't do this. I don't like it. But you find out this priest was possessed by the devil during the Spanish Inquisition. Therefore, Spanish Inquisition wasn't the church's fault. It's fine.
Done.
It's fine. I wondered in that moment, how much did the Vatican pay to be like, can we pull this off on the devil? Can we do this? This horrible mark in history. Hollywood, can you take care of this for us? Holy shit.
And Hollywood sure as shit will.
Oh my god. And then they have to do another recap, by the way, of what just happened.
Yeah.
And this is the point when Russell Crowe had to read the script and was like, we have to save the day and save that boy's life. And it was just a little weird. I think they ran out of real plot for the possession and were like, pat it. Here's some extra stuff.
I also, with like the whole rest of this movie, I feel like they were trying really hard to not make this your like typical run-of-the-mill exorcism film, because it's not. Like, it's really, really not. And I think on one hand, I appreciate the shit out of that, because I'm a big exorcism, like possession film person, but this one is just, I don't know, it's so different. Like, it has like a campy type feel to it.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, it's just like an edge. Like, it's just a little bit of an edge of like camp. And I love that. And I also love that they went in a different direction with why this possession is happening, as opposed to like with most like demonic possessions within kids. It's like, oh, robbing you of your innocence. Like, that's my goal here. And this fucking demon is just like, no. And
I want you, old man.
yes, and it's really, I liked that part, but it does feel like they just kind of ran out of things to pull it towards that direction and did kind of pat it a little bit.
For me, it felt like two different movies. That tone shift hits, and it hits, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I was enjoying the first half; it was fine, and now we're over here, and this is fine too. But I do not know how those two suddenly crossed
Right.
over, and how we got over here. And I wish maybe that transition had been a little bit more smooth,
Right.
right? Because I can't tell, is it supposed to be kind of funny? Because it feels a little predictable, a little funny, but is it meant to be?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, for me, I feel like, especially with the amazing talent that is Russell Crowe,
Of course.
that it was intentional, I think. And I think that there's no other actor that they could have got to play this part that would have done it in the way that he did at all. Because he
That's
has
fair.
like that very, like you said earlier, like he takes his job seriously because he cares about his job, but he's also kind of like juvenile in a sense, but like in
Yeah.
a good, almost like in a comedic relief way. And I don't know, I fucking love Russell Crowe in this. Like, I love him so much in this damn movie. It's not even funny. I
Agreed.
adore him.
I think I think he did a really good job with the character, and it never felt like anything he said was out of character, which was
Right.
nice. Right?
Yes.
It did.
Yeah.
What I kind of say, like, oh, poor Russell Crowe had to read these lore dumps,
Right.
basically. But that's not Russell Crowe's fault. That's scripting, and who
Right.
knows? That might not even be the writers or director's fault. That might be a producer saying, "No, no, 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 no. We need more concrete plot here.
Yeah.
Make it so." And they're like, "Okay, shit. I don't know. Sit in this room, sit in this set that will always still have it, and renegotiate the plot."
Right.
And you brought up a good point too. While they're down exploring stuff, they just leave the mom and the daughter while the son is possessed, and not like a little bit possessed. Like, they
No.
got their world rocked
Yeah.
just an hour beforehand.
Yeah. And like at this point, again, like you know that he's full into his like demonic possession now because his face looks all crazy, and that's how they like depict the stages of possession in possession films, is like the crazier you look, like the more possessed you are, like you've got random scratches all over your faces and weird things are appearing on your stomach and
Yeah.
you're all wrinkly and whatever. So they left these poor people, like mama and sis, are left upstairs to deal with this absolute bullshit, and they're just like having a grand old time at the bottom of the house, like, hey, what's in there, you know? That was a British accent, not an Italian accent, but it's fine.
Feel better about my warm up now. I'm just gonna say.
I don't know how to do accents. Don't come for me. I know that it was wrong, okay?
I can't do them either, so I can't judge. And like, I don't know, glossing over a lot. There's just little bits here, like you learn about how kind of a terrible priest the young priest is. Not terrible, how human
Right.
he is. And there is something nice that they kind of address about the humanity of everyone that's involved. It's not just about the church. I remember watching this and thinking, like, oh my god, did they make religion sexy? Did they? Like, I don't know. There was something. I am not a very religious person myself, in case that was not evident already. And I don't know. There's something about this. I went, I get it. I'm starting to get it just
Right.
a little bit more. Thanks, Hollywood. Working wonders, working miracles. I don't know. So they have to find the demon's name. It's in the journal, and then they like wait a weird amount of time to like actually do anything with the name. Like, we have to have some like fight scenes and action stuff. Russell Crowe, as again, shit's going crazy. The girl's now possessed too. He's like, no. Oh, go ahead.
And speaking of the girl being possessed, I knew the shit was gonna happen when they like, the one thing that they stuck with, well, not the one thing, they stuck with a lot of things, but the one thing that stuck with me that they stuck with was the freaking contortion thing.
I
Like,
knew.
like the fucking contortion. And I was sitting there and I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. And then they did it. And I was like, of fucking course they did. Like, god damn it. I was so upset because, as we all know, I don't like that shit. Like, that's like my line in the sand when it comes to horror movies, is anything where people are contorting and walking really fast. Nah, I'm good. Like, I will hard pass on that, but they done did it. They done did it.
Sitting there with my popcorn, like an otter, right, eating it off my chest, and I went, Amber's pissed right now. Like,
And you would be correct.
and remember how I was complaining about the guy eating the popcorn like a normal person, but I'm crazy. Except when she's on the ceiling, contorted, he pulls his phone and takes a picture. Like, he was either prepared for it or was taking a selfie in the middle of this goddamn horror film. I don't know, but the camera lens, the flash, everything happened, and I'm like, what is happening in this theater right now? It was something.
That's like the one reason that I don't like going to theaters, is because you never know what kind of audience you're gonna get.
Man, yeah, I'm getting used to the theater again, right? After, I don't know, a global pandemic.
Right.
The
Right.
last movie I really remember seeing in theaters was Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey.
Mm.
And I've not seen one or two. I saw Skin and Marink. I saw a few others, but now that I'm getting back into it regularly, by the way, I'm officially an AMC Premiere member. I decided that I will be seeing enough movies now that I need the $1 off my popcorn and soda.
Yeah, that's gonna be my next step, is being an AMC member, because I was
Right.
sitting there and I was like, why the fuck don't I have this membership yet? Like, what is wrong with me? I'm here all the time.
Hey, AMC, sponsor us, please.
Right?
Oh my god. Wrapping up the plot. I don't know. There's not like too much intense stuff that happens. Well, there's crazy shit that happens, but to go over it, like mentioning Jesus's mother, Mary, appears out of a thing of water. Question mark? I don't know. It was a bit of some liquid.
I
And, like,
completely forgot about that. And I remember sitting there and I was just like, huh? What?
Because at this point, for those who don't know, Russell Crowe says, "No, take me, not the child," which is what the demon wanted in the first place. So Russell Crowe gets possessed and has a hell of a time tearing through the abbey and going down to where the other priest was with the notebook. And yeah, there's like this pit of water, question mark. It also turns into lava at some point. I do not know what it was supposed to be, but like this glowing light happens, and then just like out of nowhere, Mother Mary loads up. Like, what is happening with this movie? And again, off the wall shit's happening. Young priest comes around. He learned the Latin prayer because it's close enough to Spanish. And they buddy cop their way through the exorcism, I guess. They get rid of the demon. And by the way, the real Pope. Oh, go ahead.
They had some whiskey.
They had some whiskey. It's
Had
true.
some damn whiskey. I don't blame them.
Because it's, yeah. Gabriella is like bros with the Pope, and so there's this like side thing happening of the Pope having a heart attack.
Yeah, that
And it
was something.
They're trying to like overlap the Pope dying with this possession happening all at the same time. It's okay.
And the one kid that's on the council or whatever, that's like, sorry, but it's like a major douche.
Yes.
Like, he's there at some point and he's like screaming and freaking out, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, okay.
The series of events is not great, admittedly. I was so lost, and I'm like, did I just stop paying attention at some point and lose some beats? No, I just think the pacing was really off on this one. But it's okay, because again, the Pope lives. Everyone lives. The ending is old priest, young priest go to see the Pope because they're buddies, and the Pope is talking like, "Thank you so much for doing this thing," and I'm like,
I like that.
In the back of my head, thinking, "And now you've proven yourself, so you can join my super secret priest squad to take over."
Yes,
Finding things.
He turned into like a spy, like commander or whatever.
The next scene, like, let me show you something. And they go down to the basement of the Vatican. There's all these relics. And they're like, we have figured out from that journal you found that there's 190 some demons all around the world that you have to go take care of now. And Russell Crowe turns to young priest and is like, we got a lot of work to do. It's a lot of work for one man. And the young priest goes, we better get to work. And the last line of the film is, we better go to hell by Russell Crowe. Credits roll. I lost it. I could not contain it anymore. Like, what? I can't. It was a journey.
lot. It really was a journey. And here's the thing, right? Is I walked out of that theater and immediately told everybody, don't waste your money seeing this in theaters. Like, see it eventually for sure. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'll never turn someone away from a movie, but do not waste your money seeing it in theaters. And then obviously this is being filmed a week after we actually saw it, and or so. And you know, weirdly enough, I feel like waiting this week to talk about it actually did wonders for this film in my brain, because I
Interesting.
don't hate it. Like, I hated it when I walked out of the theater, but the more that I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, Russell Crowe is great, and he is
Yes.
having the time of his life filming this on his little freaking moped, and I can see that. I can tell, and I love it, and I'm here for it. And it's, again, it's different than in any
Mhm.
exorcism film that I've seen. It has some of the same, like, tropes, but I feel like I kind of, and like, I'm not a huge comic book person. I used to be really into like the MCU, but I feel like I just watched some sort of like MCU horror James Bond like triangle crossover.
Yeah.
And I fucking like it. Like, I like it. And I think that I will watch that movie again probably a billion times. But, you know, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things that I don't
There's a
like
lot.
about it. And I also, I forgot one thing, speaking
Oh,
of
yeah.
like practical effects and shit. Please stop stretching mouths with CGI. Thank you. That's all. I don't like that shit. It's not for me. It looks terrible and I don't want to see it. That's all.
I think the trick is you can't let it linger too long, because I like that visual for a
Oh yeah,
horror,
for
like
sure.
visual. It's very good, but you're right. Like if it's there too long, you go, okay, whose jaw does that? Like,
Right. And it just, I feel like it kind of like, I know that for the most part, it's based off of a true story. So you're supposed to have some kind of like connection with reality in this, but then they pull in all of like the horrible CGI and like digital shit, and I completely lost all like reality connection with it, like all the way. I didn't have anything at all. So,
but there's a point where like Russell Crowe is floating, possessed, and he hits his staff, and these pillars light up, and these cool flame symbols. And I went, based on a real story. Like that was my first thought. And I'm like, this is absolutely based on a real story. Well, what's going on? Pope's Exorcist, what's going on?
yeah.
I I don't think I hated it leaving. I just had a lot of questions about why it was done the way it
Right.
was, and it felt ridiculous. And I still stand by, like, it's going to be a comfort horror movie at some
Oh
point.
yeah.
I'll be
I
like
think so.
a rainy day, and I will be working a D&D campaign or something like handsy, right? And then I'll be like, oh, let's just throw this on the background because I
Right.
don't need to pay attention. The plot doesn't really exist. It's very loose, and there's not much to miss out on. I'm with you. I think I'm not sure if I would tell people to rush to go see it in theaters. I
Right.
think you could privilege have a similar experience at home. Look forward to it when you can, because it is so silly.
Yeah,
Silly
it's a
shit.
lot of fun, and I give it
And that's
credit for that.
I
For
agree.
sure.
It was a fun horror film.
Yeah.
I'm checking my notes real quick to see if there's anything else that I really wanted to address about it. I'm tempted just to read all these out loud. But I think we're good. The only one thing I didn't mention is that little boy, seriously, remind me, that's a Tim Burton character come to life. He just got
Yeah.
big eyes, big head.
Yeah.
Just got Tim Burton written all over him.
And, you know, speaking of him, I mean, I know I said Russell Crowe is like the standout of this film for sure, but he did a damn good job for being like a kid, you know, and obviously
Yeah.
like he's not the like I don't really I don't work on film, so I don't know how it works as far as like voice distortion and stuff like that. If it's him saying the things and then they go back and edit it, or if he's mouthing it and they have somebody else record the voice and then edit that and put it over it. I don't know how that works, but either way, he did really well, especially when you're like a child that's like having to portray being possessed and like demonic and stuff. That's the other thing also that I did not like was the demonic dialogue. Like, I'm sorry, I get it. I know that you're supposed to be saying really outlandish and like
Awful.
crazy,
Yeah.
awful things, but I don't even want to say it out loud, and I won't because it made me
Sure.
like weirdly uncomfortable. I don't know. Well, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but I don't know what it was about that scene when he says it. It just like I immediately just went
Oh.
like no, don't say that. The fuck, and these people that were like down the aisle from me were laughing about it, and I was just like, what the fuck?
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't like it at all. But I don't know. Like other than that, like this movie is 0% scary, but like 75% entertaining, I would say.
Yes, I agree. It is an entertaining. You won't leave that going, man, I was bored the whole time. No, 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 no.
Right. I
You're gonna
think
go on a journey.
yes. And I think that if I had different expectations going into it, that I would have liked it walking out of it. But
I
my
agree.
expectation, especially from the trailer, was that
Yeah.
it was gonna be a fucking crazy ride of just demonic scariness. And I didn't feel any of that other than the crazy ride part at all.
Sure.
At all. So I want to talk to their trailer person.
And nothing bugs me more than a bad trailer
Mm-hmm.
that poorly portrays what the movie actually is going to be. Side note, not horror related, but was dating a guy at one point, and I said, "Oh, I'm really into dark comedies," and he said, "Oh, you should watch In Bruges." Have you seen In Bruges? It's not a dark comedy. It's not a dark comedy. Whoever says that is wrong. The trailer, however, makes it seem like it's a dark comedy, and I'm
Right.
like, yeah, sure, this seems great. Like all the funny bits are in the trailer, and then it's 2 hours of depression. And that's not dark comedy. I'm sorry, it's not.
Oh.
I'm not saying it was a bad movie, but same thing. Like wrong
Right.
expectations going into it. Of if I had a healthier understanding
Right.
of what I was about to witness.
Yeah.
So take this. Take our gem of knowledge and know. Don't expect scary. Expect fun.
Yeah. Expect Russell Crowe being incredible riding around on that Vespa. I'll never stop saying that because it's just it brings my little heart just so much joy that that's what I got to see so often in that movie was him riding around on that thing. And it's like Jason Bourne meets MCU meets James Bond. Priest is like or the Pope is like, "Hey, I got a mission for you." And then they fucking go, yeah, it's yeah.
Good mission. This isn't your mom's Exorcist. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I myself have run out of things to say about it. It was fun. I'm glad that I went and saw it,
Same.
even if it wasn't what I expected. Treat yourself to a delightful experience. Keep your standards. I say low, not because it's terrible, right? Just keep them low, and you'll enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah, I agree. I also feel like this whole review is an absolute mess.
It's fine. We are.
Listen, we're just matching the movie's energy, okay?
It's true. If you like this, you'll like the movie.
We don't have the money for like fun explosions or anything like that, but they do, so they take it up a notch.
Right. Oh!
Oh no.
What if we try again? There it is. Ooh, explosions.
Hell yeah. All of our editing budget went straight into that lighter.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, if we have nothing else to say about this, I was thinking, as we were crafting sign-offs, right? What are you watching anything? Or are you looking forward to anything in the near future, like horror related, by chance? I should have asked you beforehand so you had time to think about it.
Evil Dead, baby.
Oh, that's right. Is there like an Evil Dead coming out or something?
Oh, yeah.
Weird.
Maybe.
Weird.
I wouldn't know.
Oh,
I
you
don't
know what?
follow
That's
Evil
fair.
Dead like it's a religion. It's fine.
Do you have like any Evil Dead resources you can share? Like, hey, if you want to get into Evil Dead, here's this wiki, or here's this news site, or here's this Twitter account.
Hey, if you want to get into Evil Dead, subscribe and come back in 2 weeks when we deep dive into the Evil Dead franchise.
I didn't even mean to set that up, but that was beautiful. You're a genius. You're an absolute genius. Uh, uh, well, I have not Evil Dead stuff, but I did start a show 2 days ago and I finished it. So, have you watched From on Amazon Prime?
No.
It's going to be part of the MGM Plus. Thank you for yet another streaming service. And briefly, it's spooky Lost. So a bunch of people, they're on a road trip, la da da, and they drive through this town, and then they can never leave the town. No matter how long you drive on that road, it always circles back to this town. Meanwhile, at night, there's monsters around, and unless you have a special talisman at your door, they'll come in and mess your shit up. And I saw like the little intro or the description. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. I thought this was one of the strongest pilots for an episode or for a series I've seen in a very long time.
Really?
And then I continued to binge it in like a day and a half, and I am upset that the second season isn't out yet. It's very good. So I would say expect lost conditions because again, you're isolated, you're trying to escape, right? There's people trying to come together, there's factions, etc., etc. So I don't think it's doing anything to necessarily redefine that genre, but it was thoroughly enjoyable exploring the human condition on The Walking Dead. So that's my recommendation. That's what I watched this week.
I'm gonna have to watch that now. See, this is why I can't do recommendations because I'm like out jumping on it immediately as if I have time.
It's only 10 episodes and they're like an hour each. So when I say you can do it in like a day, isn't just me being the kind of person that does binge a show in a day, but like it's actually doable-ish if you like watching TV.
Oh, also, that reminds me, there's this beautiful show on Netflix called Ash vs. Evil Dead. They're pulling it off of Netflix for God knows what reason on April 28th. So if you haven't watched that shit yet, you should definitely go watch it because it's chaotic, gross, and Ash Williams.
Who doesn't love Ash Williams?
Idiots.
Really, end of the day.
Sorry.
Tell me how you really feel.
I don't trust
strong
anyone.
enough.
I do not trust a person who doesn't like Ash Williams.
I'm so excited for when we get to talk about the franchise. I feel like I'm going to get an education, and it's going to be delightful.
I'm going to dress up like a teacher. Be like,
what?
Here's your lesson for today. And it's all about Evil Dead.
Okay, yeah, I'm here for it. I think we might get a few new people involved too. Let me just spread the word around just a little bit, casually, purely academic.
Yeah. Yes.
Shit, I'm good. I still don't have a cute outro for us yet, though. So I guess where can we find you? In case we need an exorcism, where can we find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Amber Blitz. Yeah. If you're into just, ramblings about literally nothing most of the time, but and that's the main place.
You can find me on Twitter at Roll4Alex, where that's the best place to figure out what I'm doing other stuff. I do a lot of actual play, like tabletop role-playing game stuff. If I'm in it, I'm going to be promoting it. That's going to be my Twitter. Boom, bang, pow. That's it. That's the place. Roll4Alex. And that's it. Go home, I guess. Do a prayer if that's your thing. Don't inherit an abbey. Any other words of wisdom? Don't start the Spanish Inquisition. Don't do that either.
Right. And make sure you read his books because they're good.
Because they're
I'll
good.
never stop laughing at that. Thanks.
Oh, bye. See you next time.
Adios. It's just like
Wrong priest.